Hey everyone, welcome to the episode of the Mind Game. We're waiting for our followers to join. Today we have someone super exciting. Well, all of our guests are really exciting, to be honest. Today we have Otara, and she's going to be joining us in a bit. We'll just wait a couple of minutes. Here she is.
Hi there. Hi.
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 Nice and outdoors.
There they are. Two of them.
How's it going?
It's good. I'm good, thank you.
They look like they're enjoying the fact that they get to spend unlimited time around you these days.
Yeah, they're wondering what's going on since I've been home almost every day for so many weeks now.
All right.
So yeah, they're very happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, so the lady on screen needs absolutely no introduction. She's a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, and most importantly, someone Sri Lanka needs in terms of an animal lover and someone who's made massive strides in every avenue that she's decided to embark on. So Fitski and Marmite together decided. See what I did there? It was totally unintentional. It's like. So Fitski together with Marmite decided to start this series called the Mind Game, where we gather a group of people who've sort of made it and are continuing to push the limits in lots of things and try and figure out how they're looking at things differently, how they're making themselves tick. So Otara, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it very much indeed. First thing I want to ask you, a lot of people have been going like crazy staying at home. Are you one of those people, or have you found a way to manage?
No, I've quite enjoyed it actually. It's been a nice change for me. And yeah, I found like a regular pattern to keep me peaceful and happy during this time. And yeah, I think that's kind of the lesson I think for all of us with this is, do we really have the mind and the ability to be with ourselves and to be in a limited space with not a lot to do, and how do we cope with that? Because we're always distracted with things in our life. We're always running from one thing to another thing, and that's the human way at the moment, is that we keep ourselves distracted all the time, and we never really look within ourselves or spend time with our own selves. And a lot of us are not comfortable with ourselves. And I think a lot of people would have discovered that during this time. And, then when you're agitated and when you become, unable to be peaceful in a situation like this, where you have to, you don't have a lot to do. I think that's the time you realize that you really need to work on yourself more, and to be able to, to be able to be peaceful no matter what chaos is happening outside you.
How important is routine to that?
It is important. I mean, I think it's important to have a certain routine, but it's also important not to make it too disciplined, because I think you need to be able to adapt to the change that's happening as well. And then if you just otherwise you just substitute one routine that you had outside this 2 months or a little longer, I think, that we've had, and you just substitute with another routine. So I think it's important to not try to do that as well, so that you can be okay, be comfortable with change, no matter what routine you have or not.
So Tara, you mentioned something really interesting. You said it's time to work on yourself. I'm interested to know, did you discover anything new about yourself or your inner workings during this period?
Well, I mean, I've been doing a lot of work for the last, I don't know, year and a half to 2 years. And a lot of it has to do with knowing who you truly are and who we truly are within a lot of us, including me, and most of us are not comfortable with exact. We don't know who we truly are really, because we're always, trying to find things to keep us happy from the outside. The next new thing, the next new app, the next new cake, the next new restaurant, the next new, whatever. And we're always looking for things to excite us from the outside. And I think during this time, all that was stripped away from us, where we had nothing. And even on the days where the few days last week where we could go out, we had nowhere really to go. So it's, which is also quite new
Yeah,
to
that's true.
experience. So I think it's not an easy thing to do, to be able to to spend time on your own and to be peaceful and not get upset by whatever chaos. It may not even be what's happening now, but even on other times, there's always a lot of disruption, chaos, and a lot of things happening outside us. And it doesn't mean that you don't get affected by it, but it's just that you can cope with it, and you can be peaceful even during that time, and know that this too shall pass. It's all happening for a good reason. There's some lessons we need to learn from this. What are those lessons? If we step out this week without having learned anything, and we go back doing the same thing that we were doing before, then I think we have more lessons to learn. A lot of it comes through stilling the mind, through meditation, through self-realization, through knowing your inner self, through loving yourself. Self-love is just so important, and that is not in a selfish way, but you can only love and change, and do things with positive change if you, on a larger scale, if you really, really love yourself, and you're able to project that outside of you as well. A lot of work to do, and it's certainly not it's very interesting, and it's once you start looking at that side of things, it's fascinating and it's interesting.
Amazing. That sentiment of self-love, self-appreciation is something that goes so undervalued these days, because we're always looking outwards. This
Yeah.
aspect of, along with yourself, a lot of us, let's say people who are crazy workaholics, have been stuck at home with their families, right? And that support system kind of changes, because I've noticed people going through a cycle. First, they're kind of okay, then they start to get irritated, then they start to get more tolerant, and then more irritated. You see lots of different people reacting differently. How important has your immediate support system been, whether it's your family or your pets or how important has that support system been?
Very important, of course, because no matter how much you think you can handle it, or you're okay, that you always have. I mean, there are always days of ups and downs, and questioning and wondering, and anxiety, and that. So it definitely goes up and down. And I think having people to talk to, having support, having friends, and even if they're not with you, people who understand the situation, who can guide you, who can support you, those who have done more work than you are even greater to have. And I'm so grateful and so fortunate to have many of them in my life who have actually guided me and helped me with so many things. And I think that support system is very important. And of course, within your own family, then you have to, use your experience and support them as well, because each one of them is going through different things for different reasons. So I think it's important to have people who can support you and people you can talk to. They don't even necessarily, like I said, have to be in your home or your family, but people you can reach out to, and often they're friends, often they're they're guides, they're people you've met along the way who can support you in different things at different times. And it's always important to reach out because there's always more to learn. There's always more to to get guidance on from others, and I think that's really important in life.
So, to everybody who's just joining us, we'd like to say welcome to the Mind Game with Otara. And this is organized by Marmite as well as Fitsky. So, Marmite is enriched with vitamin B, which is important for your mental improvising as well as replenishing your muscles and your energy. And of course, Fitsky, Sri Lanka's premier fitness app. We have 40 classes a week to anybody who wants to join, connecting fitness centers, gyms, and so much more. Now, on this aspect of running a business, because you ran one of Sri Lanka's biggest brands, Odell, and a lot of people were like, "What? No, what's happening there?" And people were shocked. There were lots of people in denial. I know this happened several years ago, but I'd like to know a little bit about what your process was in terms of deciding to let it go. And move on to something that was more of a passion project, I believe, with Embark. So what was the process there? Because a lot of people here are struggling with starting new businesses, wondering what to do with their businesses. So they're juggling things, right? What do I care about? What's making me money? What do I like to do? All of these things. How did that pan out in your head?
Well, I mean, whatever you do, I think everything needs to be, you need to have a passion for it. You need to really, truly love it. It should just not be something that's just a job for you, just something that earns you your daily money. Of course, sometimes it works out that way, but you should eventually always try and move out towards finding that job or that purpose that's something that's truly your purpose in life. All of us have a purpose in life, all of us, and we are here on this earth to fulfill that purpose, to fulfill that soul calling, and that's what we are here for. And it's so important for all of us to find that, to know what that is, because that is when you will truly be fulfilled with what you're doing, and it doesn't become work; it becomes just something you love to do. So even though my plan was not to start a fashion business, it eventually became my passion, and it was my life really. And I loved the fashion side of it. I loved the business side of it. I loved the retail side of it, and everything. So I think that part is really important. And yes, my true passion was, of course, to change the life of animals, to give a better life for animals, for people, and to protect the environment as much as I could contribute towards that. And I did use the business as a platform for that as well. For all the time I was there, I used to always do as much as I could to create awareness on how important it was for us to protect our environment, to create awareness of the beauty of what we have in Sri Lanka through forests and wildlife, and the importance of everything that we have here, and also. I took that passion into the business as well. The different things, of course, to leave the business was a business decision and a personal decision, and timing wise, I thought it was time in my life to make a change, and it was the right time in my career, and the right time in the growth of the business to do that. And so that's why I did it. And of course, with that comes detachment. It's not easy to do, to detach from something that has been your whole life for 25 years. It takes a lot of more self-work and more soul searching, and more again to think of how I move on to my next, what I believe is my purpose in life. So it's not an easy thing to do, to switch from like that, from something that's been a part of your day-to-day life for 25 years, and really it was my life and my passion and my greatest love. So that's why I decided to switch. And we need to be able to make change. We need to be okay with change. It's not like I said, it's not easy to do. My years after that were challenging. I mean, were enjoyable. I loved it. I had the opportunity to do a lot of things that I was not able to do before. But certainly, it takes getting used to be able to change to something completely different. Different. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. It was a bit
Um,
long.
that's okay. You mentioned this detachment thing, and a lot of people's lives have changed with this because some industries have died, some industries are dying, and people need to look at new ways to do old things or new ways to do the things that they were doing. So, just a question on detachment. So, whenever you see something that's, let's say, an Odell thing now, do you always think, I would have done it differently? You could have done it like that? Because detachment is a work in progress, right?
Yeah, of course.
So,
I would say honestly, at the beginning, I would think that, and I made a conscious decision. Embark was in Odell for 2 years, after a year or 2 years maybe, I can't remember now, after I left, because so I did go back maybe once or twice to see my Embark store there, but I made a decision like not to go back to Odell, to any of the stores, because I just didn't want to be a part of. I knew if I went, it would be like, oh, I it should have been like that, or I like this, but I don't like that, and it's really not my. It's not mine to say that, and I didn't want to be a part of that. Really, it's just it's just a human nature that you would do that, and it was my so much of my life. So I made a decision, that I wouldn't go back, because it's not mine anymore, and it's up to someone else to do what they think is best, and how they want to run it. So that was one way I detached, and then as the years went on, yeah, sometimes when I walk by, it's hard to even connect to it being something I started, or my name, or it's part of what I did. But it's always nice to see, and always good to to see, and be grateful for. I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to be able to do that, and to build the brand, and to create the retail experience that Odell is. And so it's somewhat you have to switch off, otherwise, yeah, you don't want to be in a place where you're always thinking, I wish I didn't do that. And when I did make the decision, one thing I wanted to make sure was that I would never have any regrets, that I would never have a regret that why did I do it, or I shouldn't have done it, and I never did. And so I think that's what's most important. But you have to move on with things, with life. It's they're all material things that you don't have to be attached to everything.
Thank you for that answer. There are lots of people who are trying to start businesses with a social cause side attached, because they feel that it's their it's their passion, B, it's their responsibility. So just like Embark, a lot of smaller businesses are trying to start up with a business aspect and a social aspect. With your experience and insight with Embark, what advice can you give people who are looking to start a social cause-based business?
Yeah, I think it's really important. I'm going to move to. I think my
Sure,
phone battery is dying, so my
no
background
problem.
might change. So I think it's really it's important for your business to contribute to the community that you live in. And for me, it was really important from the very beginning that my business contributes to the community that I earn from, and that where I live, which is the community, the immediate community, and the whole of Sri Lanka. And So I think it's really important to do that. And it's I mean, actually I started Odell as well to raise funds. That's how it started. Was I made t-shirts to raise funds to help elephants, to help wild elephants, for a conservation project, and that's really how it started. So I wanted to be able to have the money to be able to fund the projects that I thought was important to support. And rather than going around and asking for money, I wanted to raise the money to be able to do that, and that's really how how it began. And And so that is why even with Embark, when I started the brand so that the brand could fund the work that we do with the dogs. And of course, during the time of Odell, it funded a lot of it, but now it doesn't really. I wish it does, but it doesn't because the business is has been a lot smaller. So yeah, I mean, as much as you can also raise funds to do the causes that you think are important, and you want to support. It's always good to be in a position where you can also contribute yourself to to supporting the cause that you want to be a part of. So it's because running around looking for funds is really quite a task. And not everybody, of course, believes in you. Not everybody believes in your particular cause. Not everyone, wants to contribute to your particular cause. So it's good to be able to stand on your own 2 feet, not only for your own life, but also to support all the causes that you think are important to do, social causes that you want to do. But I think you have to also be careful that it just doesn't become a project just to just to show that what you're doing is like supports the social cause, because I think in the latter years a lot of causes have really not been truly what it should be. I feel
They become vanity causes in a
yeah,
sense.
and not really going into the details of what actually the cause of that particular illness or that particular situation is, and solving that rather than just doing little things on the surface. And also it's really important to to try and do something which brings great change. I mean, yes, you help. Even if you help one person, it is wonderful. But if you're doing it through a company, it's really good to support something where you can bring great change. So which is also why I started Embark, because I was doing Dale, I was doing a lot of charity, like supporting causes. Different causes, a lot of so many different projects I was linked to and aligned with, but then I saw it like not having great impact in anything. Like it would just be something for that weekend and then that's it. And that's why I wanted to focus on one main thing which I wanted to bring great change in, and that's why I chose the street dog and Embark. So yeah, I think those are the few things that maybe you can look at if you are interested in doing that yourself as well.
All right. So, to everyone who's joining us, this is the Mind Game with Otara, organized by Marmite and Fitzky. I'm going to get into the next question, and this is a fitness question. But before we do that, just a reminder that Marmite helps improve the generation of red blood cells in your system, improves your cardiovascular health, and that together with Fitzky. An interesting fact for workout freaks out there is that in the 7 weeks of lockdown, Fitzky had over 4,000 bookings. So that shows the amount of people who've been stuck at home and decided, I'm going to start working out, right? Mm-hmm. So what's your fitness routine like before, pre-COVID? Like, did you gym every day? Did you work out every day? And how has it changed post-COVID?
Yeah, I never eat Marmite, by the way. So I think I should say that. I've always been working out a lot, and that's just me. It doesn't mean anything else. But I mean, I've from my childhood, I was an athlete when I was in school, so I've always been working out a lot. And I used to go to the gym. I used to work out at that time, and then even after during my career in retail, I always worked out also. As I don't know if you know, but we had a gym as well there, called Tone Fitness. So I used to go there almost every day, so I used to work out there, and then I work out even during this time. I have been working out and make sure I do that. I also do a lot of yoga now. I think that's a good thing to bring into your life as well. Both, I mean, for health benefits and mind benefits and health benefits, it's really, helpful. And I think yeah, so that, and I think it's really important to be healthy. I think if there's one main thing that we've learned from this whole thing is that the importance of remaining healthy, the importance of boosting keeping your immunity strong, and also so that you don't catch illnesses, and you don't, because it's when your immune system is weak that you catch, various types of illnesses. And so it's really important to eat well, to not eat fast food, to eat healthy food, like fruits and vegetables, and of course, no meat. For me, no meat diet is best, but both for the cruelty aspect as well as health aspect. And the yeah, and I think those things, it's really important in life to live a healthy lifestyle, and go to the doctors less, go to the hospital less, unless you really need to. And for that you need to, your blood circulation has to be good. You need to eat well. You need to drink a lot of water. You need to be outdoors. Get some, as you know, one of the important things was vitamin D, to be able to be exposed to that, and and also and exercise is really important. And I think a lot of people have realized that, because I see a lot of people walking on the road now, and much more than before. And I think even not more, even more than just walks. It's important to have some sort of workout routine that keeps your muscles strong, and your circulation healthy.
So to anybody who'd say that, hey, I'm too busy to work out, I think Otara is a living testament to someone who ran a massive business and did multiple other things and also still found time to work out. To anybody who's wanting to start working out, what would you suggest as a first step? Is it just start to walk, or start out with a friend? What would you suggest?
I think you can start with a friend, or even, there are so many apps now as well that you can have on your phone. Actually, during this time, I've been using an app called Heat or something, and it's a really good app, and they give you different workout programs throughout the day. I mean, throughout the week. So it's a different program every day, and you can change it around to your for your core, or for your upper body, or legs, or whatever. So there are apps, that you can use. There are just simple things on YouTube that you can look at, and even for yoga, you can start that way. Ideally, is to do it with a practitioner, but that's these days a little difficult. So you can even start by seeing what's on YouTube. There's so much things that's available, and ideally, yes. I mean, if you're somebody who needs help to get motivated, you can get somebody to work out with you. And I know my son used to do it. Like, you can work out with a friend online as well in this current situation. So to do it together with someone. I mean, I have always been motivated enough to do it, to work out myself,
Self-motivated.
and yeah. So it hasn't been hard for me. But yeah, there are so many options. But like start, like half an hour a day, and if you like, I mean, actually, I have been going for walks as well during this time, which I've never done before, but because it's curfew and the air is nice and clean, it's good to do. But you need to also do like a little bit of strength work, a little bit of to build up your muscles, and I think that's important, to do as well, as which you don't get to do when you just walk. Jogging is really good. It doesn't have to be like excessive, strenuous jogging, but you can, jog for 20 minutes or something, and then do some exercises. So many options. But once you start, and once you get used to it, it becomes part of your life that you find very difficult to live without it. And even in Odell, I used to always go in, like I used to do it, work out in the morning at that time, and I used to always work out in the morning, and then go to work, and then I had the whole day to work after that. But it's really important for your mind, for your health, and more than anything, we don't need to take tablets and things if you eat right, and if you if you're healthy, you don't, a lot of the time you can have some Marmite too, and
How the little plug? Not bad.
I
Not
feel bad
bad.
that I said that before actually. So, no, but it's I mean, yeah, I
Marmites
mean,
will
just
love it
be.
or hate it.
No,
And
actually,
and
I
I
used to
think
eat it.
they capitalize on that. Yeah.
I used to eat it a lot actually when I was when I was a child and growing up, and I just haven't, had it of late, of course.
Okay, so Marmite, if you're
But
listening, you got to send Otara a shit ton of Marmite.
but just I think we need to start using our, as they say, it's not about being, we're supposed to be intelligent, but we don't make intelligent decisions a lot of the time. So we need to use our intellect, which is we need to be logical, and we need to be free thinking, and we need to realize that, like, how can putting junk in your body give you a healthy life? How can it give you a good body? How can, so stop eating it. Like, don't eat sugar. Sugar is one of the worst things you can eat.
Yep.
And, just, and yeah, it's an addiction. Try and stop eating sugar and see what happens to you. You're like a drug addict. It's so difficult to get off it. And, those are things that we need to start thinking now, and just be, just move away from what's thrown at us every day through media, through magazines, through, everything, which we get so taken up with, so much cake, so much this. I mean, even during lockdown, there's like people talking about so much cake and so much ice cream, and oh my gosh, it's like, it's like, yeah, like, yeah. So I mean, it doesn't mean I don't have it. On and off I do, but it's not a part of my main diet, and it's not a struggle not to do it. It just becomes a part of your lifestyle, because it shouldn't be. Ideally, I mean, at the beginning, yes, you would struggle, but then ideally you should get to a place where it's not like a battle every day. Oh my gosh, I want to have a bar of chocolate, but I don't
Yep.
want it. But because when you eat healthily, 90% of the time, it's perfectly fine to eat, something a little bit
Occasionally.
better. Yeah, you don't. There's no guilt.
And if you
Yeah,
want,
but
you can
it's
replace it
really
with stuff like
important.
stevia if you really want like a sugar replacement, I guess.
Yeah, but ideally, like, everything is there in fruit and
Yep.
vegetables, and it's once you get used to it, you don't really want, you never crave it actually. I used to be such a chocoholic when I was young, and I really I had to have it. I had to have it every day, and then I decided I don't want. Yeah, I need to get off it, and it was like getting off drugs. It was, just to not have it every day, and but then it's
The
then
system
once you don't have
adjusts.
it, your system adjusts, and you really feel good, and your skin looks better, and it affects so many other things in your body as well, and besides the shape, besides so many things, and so much more energy as well.
So a quick summary on some of the things that Otara suggested, that you can, if you want to try working out, you can try different things, whether it's walking, whether it's cardio, and you can also try working out with friends. So coincidentally, if you want Zumba, yoga, cardio classes, on demand, you can download the Fitsky app, available on the App Store and the Play Store, where you can work out with someone on the other side of the screen, regardless of what type of fitness routine you want. And that option is available for you. We have some interesting comments coming in, where Chavinder says he can't stop eating talaguli, and he also needs sugar in his tea, because Sri Lankan mothers and grandmothers, the amount of love is shown by the amount of scoops of sugar in the tea, right?
Mm.
The sweeter it is, the caring is more. I guess we need to break away from that. I guess if you have any more questions to ask,
It's an
these sessions.
addiction.
Hmm.
The need for sugar is an addiction. It's something you get addicted to, and you can't do without. And it's not good for you. Sugar is not good for you. On a regular basis, and in big quantities, and a lot of the food has a lot of sugar in it, so that you get addicted to it, and you keep wanting more of it all the time.
That
So
hit.
that's, yeah. So and then your body you crave it, and you want that hit of sugar, at that time every day, and to keep you going. So to get off it, it's hard to get off it, but once you do, I can tell you, you feel so amazing, and your body will thank you for it, and so will your mind. But yeah, it's an addiction.
I
Coloring
guess if
is
you have
not so
any
bad.
if you have any questions, you can by all means ask us here. I'm going to try to answer it to the best of our ability. We have a comment, not a question. This comment is from Vindik Pereira, I think. Otara is an inspiration that changed an entire country's perception of caring for animals. Thankful to what you do day in, day out.
Thank
Wow.
you.
That's
Thank
amazing.
you. Yeah, we all need to do it. We're not human unless we care for all sentient beings in our country. We are all one. We are all one with nature. We are all one with animals. We are all one as all races, all religions, all people. We are everything. We are all one in this world. And until we get that within us, we'll have so many struggles in this world. Like what we've gone through. We are not isolated from animals, nor are we isolated from environment. We are all interconnected, and we all struggle together when we are not thoughtful, when we are not. But we are the people with the minds and with the brains, but we don't use it to understand that and live in a world and a country where we can all live together happily. And I so believe that it's possible to do. I really, really believe it. And I know we can create a country where where people are more wealthy, happy, healthy, and where animals are not abused, and they are also happy and healthy as well. I just wish it would happen, and where our forests are protected, where our wildlife is thriving. It's all possible. We just need to have the consciousness, and we just need to have the systems in place to be able to achieve that. And I really hope it will happen soon. If not, I have great hope that it will happen.
So guys, if you have any questions, please put them in. There is a comment from King of the Road 300 who says, "Hi, I have a dog named Taffy
Hi.
from you, Otara."
Hello, Taffy. Oh, from me. Oh, from
Yes,
Embark.
apparently.
Hey,
Yes,
Taffy.
remember.
I hope you and Taffy are well. Thank you for adopting. Always choose to adopt a homeless dog, please.
And everybody
It
who's
is so
listening, did
cruel.
you notice how Otara's tone changed when he was talking to just a person versus, okay, now I'm talking to the dog, like, hey,
Yeah, I
there
have a
is a
dog voice.
true animal lover there. Okay, so
I
we
have
have
an
a question
animal
from
voice.
Anushi, who says, please give some advice for businesses during this situation on how to break this. So I guess a lot of small retail businesses are suffering because we don't have business coming in. Essential services are somewhat okay, but what's your perspective on businesses that are in the retail space or smaller businesses? Any advice?
Yeah, it is going to be a tough time, and it is a tough time. And I think a lot of changes are going to happen as well, because I think the consumer is changing. People's wants and needs will change as well, and I think in the months and years ahead, things are going to change from what it's been before to what we're going to experience in the future. I think I think it's also important in a business, not to. I know we're always being pushed to take loans, and I think you need to be really cautious about that at this time. If you really truly believe that your business can, turn around or grow to another level with a loan, then you should take it. Otherwise, I think you should really be cautious and manage as much as possible with what you have, and try and minimize the expenses and everything, and ride through this. But you also have to ensure that what you have now is going to be relevant for the future, because, as I said, I believe that a lot will change, and so if what you have is relevant for the future, then of course there's a lot of opportunity. So where there's a lot of a lot of lost opportunity, there's also going to be a lot of a lot of gain that will happen from certain businesses and certain areas that where things will grow, and there'll be so much new opportunity. So I think, but you need to be able to identify what that is. You need to be able to know what that is. I think people are going to be far more conscious with what, with how they buy, how they shop, where they shop. I don't think it'll be as excessive as before. I think it'll, people will buy less. I think people have realized the importance of saving money and not overspending and not spending excessively all the time on, on things that we don't really need. So yeah, I mean, I think there is, I'm very hopeful for a lot of new opportunities that are coming up. There's always that, always.
So as a business, if you're struggling right now, try and look at new ways you can adapt without just waiting for the older things to continue. We have a question from Yoga with Aisha who asks, would you say this situation has enabled a human consciousness awakening?
Yes, I think so, but I don't think it's enough. I think awakening, a changing of our consciousness is much, much needed for us to be, to not be in these situations. Again, to be able to change the way that we live to benefit a far greater whole, looking at the greater whole of things around us, more community conscious, where it contributes to the greater, to a much larger group of people, of being conscious about the environment, of caring for animals. And I think it's so important, and it has been happening in the last few years. It has been changing. I have seen the retail scale, the fashion retail changing. I have seen the other retail changing. I've seen how the food industry changing to going more vegan, to going more less dairy, because people are now have started to awaken and to see, the sort of the chain that we are a part of. It's us who's contributing to all of this. Everything that happens around us happens because of us. It happens because of the level of our consciousness at this time. So for us to be able to change, to have a healthier, wealthier nation, for us to be able to have a happier, life for many, we have to start thinking on why. Why is there, with so much wealth in the world, why is there such a great divide, and why are people still so poor? There's obviously something wrong with what we are doing. It should not be that way. It should not be that way in our country. It should not be that way in our world. And there's something very wrong with the way the system is working at this time. And that is to do with the changing of our consumerism, the pattern of what we're buying, how we're living. We buy far more than we need. Yeah. So and that contributes to a lot more destruction of the environment. Animal agriculture is one of the major causes of deforestation, besides the cruelty aspect as well. So, a lot of things like that, we need to look at animals in captivity. We've all realized now. I hope that we've realized what we put animals through by putting them in zoos, by keeping them in cages, that we can go and point and look at them and pay to go and look at them living a life in captivity. And within our homes, we have a TV, or we have family, or whatever that we can be with. But most animals in
They
captivity
don't.
don't even have that. So as humans, how could we have ever done that to animals? How do we continue to do that? How do we continue not to see the suffering that we cause? We have to change how we think. We have to awaken to start thinking. That's what I said earlier, like free thinking and our own thinking, not getting brainwashed every day by the mass media, by what we are told, how we should act, how we should live, what we should do. We need to start thinking on our own now, and understanding some things that are happening, which is being pushed to us to act a certain way to benefit a certain group of people, and or certain poor, or certain a way of life, which then brings great profit to a certain group of people. This is always not the right thing to do, or the conscious, our consciousness should know it's not the right thing to do. So we all need to start thinking more freely, and definitely an awakening is happening globally. I hope it's happening here. But
We hope
we
it's not short
here to
term.
yeah, and I think it is really a time of great change that's coming, and then that great change is brought by each and every one of us who wants to live in a in a more conscious world where we care for each other, where we love each other, where we don't we are not being controlled by the outside to hate each other, where we like I see it all the time that we're always people fighting each other about politics or about governments or about and really you're fighting with the person that you should be loving, to be united, to stand together. And So I think it's time to awaken to all of that, and I'm so happy to see it happening in many with many people here, and there's always more to learn and more to see, and a lot is being unraveled at this time globally as well.
So we've taken a lot of Otara's time. I think we'll have time for one or two more questions if anybody wants to ask. We've had an interesting conversation going from detachment to self-discovery, to living your purpose, understanding your purpose, to being to an elevated consciousness. It's just diverged into so many interesting areas. Thank you so very much, Otara. We appreciate it very much. It seems that we've had a couple of people asking questions, lots of compliments about being a philanthropist in terms of the little doggos on the road.
Thank
Appreciate that
you.
very much indeed.
And please
This
help
has
as
been
well. So many need your
uh,
help.
just a couple of things in terms of what can people do. So, for example, adopting is one thing instead of shopping. If you
Yeah.
see a street dog, then helping to neuter is another thing. Leaving out some food is another thing. What are the other simple things that people can do in
So
terms of helping?
so during this time, a lot of kind people help to feed the dogs because they lost their regular sources of food. So, I must say that a lot of Sri Lankans went out there and started feeding the dogs, even though it didn't happen in the first week or two, obviously, because all of us were in quite a whirl of not knowing what's happening. So, we have to be really happy about that and really thankful for that. But, you can even, yes, so sterilization is one, adoption is one. Please choose to adopt instead of supporting the awful, cruel pedigree trade that's going on in Sri Lanka. It's so bad at the moment. And there are so many dogs that need a home, and all dogs are the same. Each one wants the same love, and the home and the family that as well. So there's no difference in what each dog wants in life. And then you can also treat a dog, like if you see a dog that's injured, you can take the dog to a vet, or you can call the vet. Like, for example, Best Care has a mobile service and they will come and help. So if you can help even one or two dogs on your own, it'll be a great help for us, because we get so many calls a day. You have no idea how many calls we get, and we just can't reach out to every single one, and it breaks my heart to not be able to help all of them. But I have to do what I can do for a day. So there's so much like that you can do. If you see puppies on the road, foster them, vaccinate them, find homes for them, and then remember to sterilize them. Others will be doing the same. In 5 months, 6 months time, we'll be doing the same thing again. So it's really really important to sterilize the female. I know in an ideal world it's not required, but because of the situation we have in Sri Lanka with the number of dogs and the number of puppies that are born, they face so much cruelty and so much abuse, and the puppies are also face so much cruelty and abuse because when they're born, and people dump them, people kill them, people then they get run over by vehicle, all those things, and it's just much happier. The females are much happier, and all the community is much happier as well when all the dogs are sterilized, and then everybody doesn't have a problem with what do we do now with these puppies and all this. So that's why we encourage it, and it's everybody lives happier, the dog and the community as well. And Yeah, and please create awareness as much as possible. Create awareness, and your friends, your family, because even if you reach out to 50 people, it's still a huge change that will happen. And not only dogs, with all animals, captive elephants, captive, they all should be living free. We have no right to take an animal and put them in a cage and be, or put them in our homes, the free animals, the wild animals, the wild birds, and think that we're doing a great thing by having them in our home. It's really not a great thing to deprive a sentient being of their freedom. Yeah, I think that's some of the things that you can do, and also you can also get more educated on the food industry. How the chickens are treated, how the cows are treated, how and see what happens there. It's terrible. Well, the way it has evolved, the way the industries have evolved over the years is so absolutely cruel and so absolutely horrific for the animals. The way they're treated. And you can make the change will happen by making individual change, and we should try and live a life where we don't harm any animal or any being or any human. That's the life we should try and lead, and it doesn't take a lot to do that. Long
Excellent.
answer,
So,
sorry.
absolutely, it covered everything. Increase how much you know. Do some research without just looking at things on the surface, and reach out and do even the little things that we can do will help create an impact to something somewhere along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Mind Game with Fitzky in partnership with Marmite. Marmite. It is enriched with vitamin B, and vitamin B is good for red blood cell generation, for cardiovascular strength, and reducing fatigue. And for those of you who are looking to start working out, missing your gyms, etc., there's this amazing app called Fitzky that you can download whether you're an iOS or Android user. In the 7 weeks of lockdown, before we got this sort of break, Fitzky had over 4,000 bookings. So whether it's yoga, whether it's Zumba, whether it's cardio classes, it's all available there. And today we picked the brain of one of Sri Lanka's biggest icons, businesswoman, philanthropist, and overall inspiration to lots of people, who's made major changes in her life and who's now following the path of her absolute passion, which is, while running a business, also helping animals and living that life, and is a living testament to a cruelty-free life. Otara, thank you so very much for joining us. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your answers. Thank you for your insight. And hopefully anybody listening to this has some sort of incentive to go out and be a better human being. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
No
Bye,
problem.
everyone.
See ya.
Bye.